More widely, Labour's shelved a legal crackdown on foreign workers. Until when?
Well, look, I'm not going to preempt what's going to be in the King's speech, but we're very clear that net migration is too high and we want to see that come down. We've already set to work with our plans to make sure we have skills plans, because we believe that one of the problems with the immigration system in recent years is that there hasn't been that link between the immigration system and the skills system. And if you have high immigration in a particular sector, that should be sending a message to the skills system in the country that we need to increase skills provision for those sectors' needs.
We do need foreign workers, though, don't we? I was just looking at the latest figures, and the team checked them for me because I was surprised. The increase in the domestic population last year was only 400.
So we know that immigration will fill shortages, but we also know that there has been, as I said, no link between the immigration numbers and the skills system at the moment. So if you have a particular sector where you have high levels of immigration, we believe that should send a message to the skills system that we need to invest in skilling people up in that particular sector so that we have more labour to meet that demand. Whereas
but
at the moment,
we do need foreign workers, don't we?
There will be specific needs where there's particular shortages, and there's already a process for determining that. But what we're clear about is there's been too much of a reliance on overseas labour rather than investing in skills of people in the UK.
OK. Talk to me about J.D. Vance, who's the new running mate for would-be President Trump for his second term. Comments that he has made over the last few days, first-term senator. He said the UK is the first Islamist country with nuclear weapons. How should you respond to that?
I don't know what he means by that, to be honest. I don't really understand those comments. But, you know, look, personalities aside...
It's a bit alarming, isn't it?
Well, look, it's for America to decide who they elect in their election. I mean, from my point of view, whoever is in the White House, whoever they elect in the US, we have a very strong relationship between the UK and the US, which is really important to our security,
and thinks
to
that the
economic
UK
growth.
is an Islamist country with nukes?
Well, look, as I said, I don't know what he meant by those comments, and obviously we disagree on those particular comments that he's made. But the relationship between the UK and the US is more important than any individuals. You know, it's about the relationship between our countries, which goes back so long and which is so important for our security, for our national security, and for economic growth. And it's in Britain's interests to make sure that we are working with the US on those shared goals.
He says, and I was talking about, you know, what is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon. Maybe it's Iran, maybe Pakistan already kind of counts. And then we finally decided that it's actually the UK, since Labour just took over.
So I really don't know what he means by that.
This man could be the second most important man in the free world.
I don't know what he was trying to imply.
Are you left flummoxed by that?
I genuinely heard that comment, and I don't know what he was driving at in that comment, to be honest. I mean, in Britain, you know, we're very proud of our diversity. You know, I'm very proud that we have a new government. I'm very proud that our Labour government is committed to national security and economic growth. You know, I'm very clear where we are. I don't really know how that comment fits in. OK.
By the way, I have to beat up on the UK. I thought we had a special bond.
Well, I think we do. And I think we do have a special bond, irrespective of individual people or individual comments. And actually that bond, you know, between the two countries obviously goes back so far, but it's also, you know, a wide-ranging bond that we have between the UK and the US. And it'll be in Britain's interests for us to make sure that we're working with the US about security, economic growth and so on.
Let's talk about security at home, should we? The Speaker has said that he stays awake at night worrying about threats to MPs. We were speaking to one of your colleagues from the other side of the chamber, saying that new MPs are being issued with panic alarms. It's a risky business being a representative of the British public.
Well, I think it's a great honour being a representative in Parliament, a huge honour. And one of the things I've seen about all the new Labour MPs I've met in the last week is how excited and honoured they are to be doing that job. But you are right that it does come with risks. And I think those risks have increased in recent years. And obviously we saw, you know, really unacceptable intimidation and harassment and so on during the election campaign. So
to Angela Rayner and others?
Yes, and to many of my colleagues in different parties as well, although I'm particularly aware of my colleagues in the Labour Party who were, you know, subject to harassment, not just the candidates, but also their campaigners, their volunteers, you know, subject to harassment as well. I think we need to address that. So I think there's almost two things. There's the question about security, which we've lived with for some time in the UK now. Over the last few years, we've been aware of the importance of protecting MPs and their staff and their family security. But there's also, in the election that's just happened, there has been a level of intimidation and harassment that we need to deal with. And I know the Home Secretary has set out how she'll be attending a Defending Democracy task force to look at what has happened in the recent election to make sure that, democracy should be about robust debate on the issues. It should never stray into intimidation and obviously not violence.
And you think it should be about devolution as well?
Yes, we think devolution is really important, and it's really important to get economic growth happening right across the country. So the Deputy Prime Minister is writing today to the council leaders in areas which are not covered by a devolution deal already, and saying to them, right, what powers, flexibilities, responsibilities can we devolve from central government to you locally to help you grow your economy as part of our national mission to get the economy growing and to make people better off.
Thought about Jay Slater before I let you go. It does appear as that they have found his body on Tenerife. Of course, there have got to be questions about why it has taken so long when areas supposedly that had already been searched. What's the British government going to do to help his family bring him home?
Yes, well, obviously that's a question for the Foreign Office, but
when representing the government.
Oh yes, but I don't know, so I don't want to say, because it's such a sensitive matter. I don't want to make a commitment that I don't know the details of. But obviously, when something like this happens, which is a horrific situation for the family, we'd expect the government to support them in whatever way they can.
OK, it's good to see you as always. Thank you very much. Congratulations. I should have said that, shouldn't I? Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.